This story begins with Marcelo Torres being awakened by his neighbor's dog named Charro. Marcelo blames Charro for his sleepless nights because he believes that the dog is out to sabotage his sleep and his career. So Marcelo plans to get rid of the dog. A failed attempt to leave the dog on a desolate beach in South Padre makes Marcelo choose a more drastic method. He tries to poison Charro with meat filled with chemicals. Charro repays Marcelo with bloody puke on his front doorstep. Marcelo feels guilty about poisoning the dog and decides that he will not try to harm the dog again. A few weeks later, Marcelo's wife Olivia accidentally hits Charro with her car. The accident kills the dog. The story concludes like this.
Marcelo scooped load after load of moist dirt. He tried not to think about what he was doing. The rain from 2 nights earlier had softened the ground, and he was grateful this made the digging a little easier. At least it wasn't too hot yet. His work would be done in no time. Then he'd have the rest of the day free. He could wash the car or change the oil. He could take Olivia out to lunch and get her out of the house. He stopped digging after a while and sat on the back porch steps. The hole looked deep enough to bury the dog, but something didn't feel right. What he had done to the animal only seemed crueler when he looked at the dead body. He felt that he owed Sanchez and his kid more than just a hole in the ground. He thought about it for a few minutes and decided to build a box for the dog. He looked around the cuartito and under the house, but he didn't have enough wood to make anything the animal would fit in. What he did have was a stack of cardboard boxes that Olivia had saved. He sliced the 2 largest ones with his buck knife and used some duct tape to hold them together. So the box wouldn't bend in the middle when he lowered it, he placed a piece of plywood on the bottom. He laid the animal on top of some old blankets and its splotched tongue flopped out. After he closed the dog's mouth, he sealed the top of the box with duct tape. Marcelo hung his work shirt on the porch railing and began digging a larger hole. For the box to fit, he figured the grave needed to be at least 5 feet long and 3 feet wide. The sun had come out from behind the clouds and made the morning hot. Each shovel load felt a little heavier than the last. His back would hurt later. He had good reasons for burying the dog in his backyard, but he also knew he could never stand before Sanchez and his boy and tell them what had happened. He tried to console himself with the fact that he had built a box for the dog. It wasn't anything fancy, but in a small way it helped relieve his guilt. After a while he stepped into the hole and shoveled the dirt around him. The last time he'd worked this hard was when his father had passed away, and in order to save some money, he and his brothers dug the grave themselves. There were 2 shovels and 5 brothers. They took turns, 2 brothers working, 2 brothers resting in the shade, 1 brother telling stories about their father's life. They talked about how their father had lived on both sides of the river, but he'd always called it El Rio Bravo. He used to say his biggest mistake in life was allowing his sons to be born Americans. He wanted everyone to know he was puro Mexicano and had no desire to change. Specific instructions had been left for his body to be taken to the ranchito outside of Matamoros, where his parents and his grandparents were buried. Marcelo thought about how different he was from this man. What would his father have done about the dog? Right or wrong, he always seemed sure of what he did. Marcelo had tried to live his father's life, but now it felt as if he were standing in the middle of a river, trying to stretch his arms and touch both sides. No matter what he did, he never reached far enough. He had been working for a couple of hours when he heard Olivia calling him from the back porch. His undershirt was drenched with sweat, and he felt as if he'd been digging all day. Marcelo put down the shovel to find out what she needed, but he couldn't see her over the edge of the grave. He realized that he dug a lot deeper than he needed to.